Hello, Casey Stubbs here, and in this video I'm going to be talking about how to take a small account from $100 to $1,000, and I'm going to briefly share a couple quick strategies on how to do this. However, this Tuesday I'm having a webinar where I go into detail where I'm going to share 5 specific strategies. So if you like today's video and you want to get even more of this type of content where you can interact with me and ask me questions, then go ahead and sign up for the webinar. And also you can also ask me questions here in this video because I'm going to be answering some questions as well. All right, well, let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing we want to take a look at is understanding that to grow your account from $100 to $1,000, you have to be consistent. Now, I know you want to know about the perfect trade, right? I get that. But here's the thing. If you can't make a little bit of money, you're not going to be able to make a lot of money. So the number one thing that you have to learn is consistency. You have to learn your setup, the setup that works for you, and you have to know it inside and out. You have to be able to see it with a blindfold on. You have to be able to smell it. You have to be able to spot it instantly. You need to know what your setup is and what it isn't so that you're not taking bad trades. So just being consistent, understanding your setup, and having the integrity to not take the trade just for the sake of trading, but only taking your setup. So the very first thing that we want to look at is after the consistency is we want to look at structure. So you'll notice that you can draw some levels in here and key zones, right? And so understanding these zones, this is just a 15-minute chart, but every time frame has zones, and you just want to draw those on the chart, right? And as long as these zones are being held, you want to try to buy or sell in those zones. So right here we had a breakout, and then price comes into the zone, and there we have it. We have a breakout, price comes into the zone, and then we have it like that, right? And comes down into the zone, and we have it. So now right here we're having a second test of the same zone. So that's, at this point, we have to say, okay, we popped back up and we went back down, and so now something different is happening. So we're going to reevaluate this trade and say, okay, what's happening? Is it going to come back up here, collect, so we short in this zone, or is it going to come back into the new zone? It's going to do one of those two things, but you want to be observant and understand what your key setup is. So the setup that I like to wait is wait for it to come into the zone and then buy. So right now it did it once, and so on the second time it can still work, because look right here, we had the zone here, it came down, it went back up, didn't break, and then it came back again. We had another touch. So that could be the situation. So what we're going to be looking at is two things. Number one, seeing if we can get a break back above this 10 moving average, and if it does, we're going to jump in. Okay, so that is my primary setup, is just being aware of your zones. I have a 10 moving average on the chart to be watching when it changes in the direction. So when it comes back and then pulls back, you have that 10 EMA. When it makes the move, that's the time to get in. You can always put your stop loss at below this level, right below the zone, right below the structure. So learning how to draw your structure, learning how to take your trades, and being patient. Patience is very important. Okay, the other thing is about consistency, is you want to be very mindful of your risk management. So if you have a $100 account, you got to remember that your drawdowns are going to be very significant, because if you lose $10, that actually equals 10% of your account, okay? And that's a pretty big drawdown, right? That's a pretty big drawdown. But the thing is, everybody's saying, well, $10, that's not a lot of money. But you got to look at it in perspective of your trading account, right? $10 is 10%. So if you're going and you lose 10%, you need to put the brakes on and say, okay, I can't lose more than 10% on this account, because now you only have 9 more losses. You only have 9 more losses till your account is gone, right? And what traders end up usually doing is they load up and they don't lose 10%, but they lose the 100% because they're trying to grow their account fast. But here's something I want you to write down if you're watching this video. The way to get wealthy is to go slow. The way to get wealthy is to go slow. The way to get wealthy fast is to go slow. And what do I mean by that? Just have a small target of $10 a day, right? If you just get $10 a day and you do that every day for a week, that's $50, okay? That's a massive growth. That's 50%. That's 50%, okay? 50%, that's huge. Right? That's rapid growth, but you want to do it consistently and small. Another way to look at it, if you're trading a micro lot, which is 0.01 on your trading platform, that's called a micro lot. 100 pips equals $10, roughly. Some pairs are a little different, but that's for the most part, right? So 100 pips is quite a bit of pips, right? But think about it. What if we break it down? What if in one day you try to take 10 trades and you're trying to take 10 pips, right? Okay, so now let's just look at this US yen and let's see how many 10 pip trades they are. So we have our shelf, we take a trade, maybe a break right here. We got one, this trade here, one trade. This is 20 pips. You can see that. Actually, it's probably more than that. Let's get the measuring stick out. We enter on this breakout right here. That's actually 67 pips, so it's definitely doable, right? It's definitely doable. So that's one trade, 60. We'll just say 60. Then we do it again right here. We get into the trade. Now we had the pullback and say, what's the next trade? This particular trade is, we'll measure it. That's 30, okay? So we just made it in 30 trades. We just made our target in, not 30 trades, in 3 trades. We got 60 to 30, that's 90 pips. We just about hit our $10. We do one more, it's 3 trades. Okay, so with that being said, if you do 10 trades and they're all 10 pips each, that is your $10 a day, right? 10 trades. So another little tip. You know, I said go slow to get rich. Another thing is to get your goals, break it down, right? You don't have to hit it in one trade. What I don't recommend is that you load up and you take a big size so you can get this $10 right away, because what's going to happen is you're going to get a loser. It's going to reverse and you're going to lose all of your profit, okay? So write this down as a tip. In order to hit your goals consistently, break them up into small bite-sized chunks. A smart trader is one who will break it down into bite-sized chunks, okay? Now, the other tip that I'm going to break out for you is keep your losses very small. If you enter a trade, put it down here, and you know, if you're trading 0.01 and you lose, this is such a small little trade. This is a very tiny trade. This is a 20 pip loss. 20 pips. Do you know what that is if you're taking 0.01? That's $2. So if your goal is 100 pips, well, this is 20 off. You just lost 20. But you can jump back out. You're down $2. You can get in it. You're emotionally not compensated with the size because of emotion. If you get emotional and you start making bad decisions, making decisions emotionally will be bad decisions. So we want to keep it small to make our emotions understanding. Our emotions are not going to control us. If we think about the big picture, we go, okay, we're going to make $10 a day. That seems like nothing. But if we do $10 a day for every trading day, that's $250. That's $2,500 in a year. Okay? Tiny little bit makes up. And then if we increase our size, then we do it again. Next thing you know, we're going to be at 25,000. Okay? So think big picture. Keep the big picture in your mind, but don't let it overwhelm you because you're just taking one step at a time. One step at a time. Now, I'm going to apply one last thing here in a real world scenario to try to help you get your mind around this. And that is, I am taking some of these trading things that I've learned and I'm applying into other areas of my life. Okay, so I'm training right now to run a marathon, and that's 26 miles. And I was running in the past when I was younger, but I haven't run in several years. And so my strength is gone. My endurance in my lungs is gone. My heart you know, my strong heart is gone, the strength in my legs is gone, everything is gone, so I had to start over. And so to get myself up to an endurance of 26 miles, I have to slowly increase. And so I have a chart where I'm started with the first week I'm running 1 mile, right? Just 1 mile, right? But then the next week I'm increasing that just a little bit to 1.5 miles, right? And I just slowly increase every week, and every run I get a little bit more. And then I kind of pull back a little bit, let my body rest, slow it down, and maybe I'll go for 1/2 mile, right? And then I increase it again. So I'm slowly growing, and I'm trying to work my way up in 6 months to do 26 miles. Will I do it? I sure hope so. I'm committed, I'm determined. But I've got to follow the plan, and I have to go slow growth, because if I try to run the 26 miles in the first week, guess what's going to happen to me, right? My legs are going to break. I'm going to end up in the hospital, and you won't see me doing these videos anymore because I'm going too fast and too far. So that's the same thing that's going to happen to you guys if you're trading. You're trying to blow up too fast. So get the big picture. I've got a big picture of 26 miles of racing. You've got the big picture of growing your account to $1,000. You've got that. But now you got to break it down into week by week, step, day by day steps. And if you miss a day, no big deal. You get back on it. You don't let your emotions take you off. So that's going to be it for today's video. But listen, go in and sign up for that training, because I've got 5 really key things that are going to help you with your growth from 100 to 1,000. It's a webinar, and it's going to be talking about our small account growth training plan as well. So just go ahead and sign up to that, because the tips that I just shared in this video are totally different from the ones that I'm going to be giving in the webinar, and it's going to be quite a bit more in depth. All right, well, that's it for today's video. If you have anything else you want me to talk about, just go ahead and leave a comment, or anything you agree with or whatever. I just want to hear from you. Make sure you please like and subscribe. It encourages me to continue to make great content, and it also helps other people find this content. So if by you liking, you're going to help someone else. By subscribing, you're going to help somebody else find this content, which they're going to thank you for later, whether they ever meet you or not, because they're going to get a lot out of this, because this content can be life-changing if you apply what you're learning here. All right, well, thanks a lot, and we'll see you guys very soon.